Should we talk about Dressed for the Holidays?
Yep.
The real reason why Rebecca is hanging out with us today, but we're so glad to be able to cover a wide range of subjects with you today.
Oh yeah, I love talking with you. I don't know if that's apparent or not, but I do.
We're glad to have you. We're glad to have you on to talk about Dressed for the Holidays. Tell us about it. It's 2 Saturdays, right?
So it's 2 Saturdays. So it's December 14th and December 21st. I always like to check my dates.
Yes.
And it's during the day, so it's not like a super late night thing. 3:30 to 4:30. So we're still open, which typically when we do like specialized tour, especially around Halloween and stuff, it's like, oh, let's make it dark and spooky. This is really a beautiful opportunity, especially even if it's gray outside, the natural light in there is so spectacular. But it is really gussied up. If you didn't get a chance to go in for candlelight, it's really decked out in, everybody's really into like the Gilded Age, like that show that's built off of, what was the original one? The Downton Abbey. My roommate would be like, what are you doing?
Oh, yeah.
Downton Abbey. Yeah, that's like building into that.
Yeah.
But it's very much that Victorian grandeur in there. And we're really exploring, it's a tour. It's not going to be just like someone talking at you though. It's meant to be super immersive. And so we're talking like really trying to access those 5 senses. Now I'm not going to hand you a cup of I'm not going to hand you an old fashioned when you walk in, just spoiler alert. But like trying to get some of the smells that would have been in that building. Cause it's very clean and sterile. And we go in there and we're like, now please be careful and don't touch anything. And, but at the same time, that's a really lived in building. And when you think about all of the different community events we do here in Frankfurt, that, summer concert series, so many things where we gather pride a lot of times. We're going down, this year it was St. Clair and Broadway, and sometimes we're getting onto the lawn. But I mean, for centuries, that's been a mainstay in this community.
Oh, yeah.
And so we're really looking more at the people and the traditions surrounding that building, and not just like, here's a big government building, because it was so much more than that when you look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've been sharing some pictures as we've been chatting already, just some archive photos that have been sent our way, and it's a little artwork from 1992. But it's just so cool to see the old state capitol. How we have just this amazing monument here in town. But lots of cool images that were sent to us by your colleague here, just from over the years in the early 1900s, and that's
really so like 1911, and we're switching over to the new Capitol because the last official meeting was 1908. But yeah, our, the focus, and we do have, we've brought out some textiles, fancy word for just like dress clothes and stuff. I say textiles like textiles. But we've brought out some winter wear from that time period, which some of it's very extravagant. Some of it's like little kid stuff that you're like, we're leaning into the ooh and ah and the so cute factors of this tour. But it's meant to be a lot of fun. This is really my first time getting back into tour, like giving a tour. I do a lot of the Tipsy Town Tales stuff, like walking around town, but being back in the building is and really diving into that history and thinking about like, dang, how many legislators walked these steps? How many, people who were pushing for things they cared about, like suffragists, people of color were definitely present in that building as well. So it's such a rich history, and it's really, like I said, focusing on the people in the community of Frankfurt. It's a celebration of that. So I'm super duper excited. And the beautiful thing, since we are open during that time period, is we closed that building at 5. All 3 of our sites close at 5 p.m. So when we end the tour, I'll be like, okay, well, that's done. But you can continue exploring on your own. If anyone is like my dad, who likes to wander off from the group, I cannot tell you. Like Alcatraz, it was like, where'd he go? Like, he's just like walking around like, hey, Clint Eastwood was here, take my picture.
Yeah. Sean Connery was here.
For The Rock. Yeah, he's like retelling the whole plot. Yeah, but if you're anything like my dad, who's more like, okay, I'll follow the group. But I also want to take pictures. I want to, which you're more than welcome to do. Just, we ask that you watch your flash. But I mean, seeing it in that state, with the Victorian style Christmas tree, and even walking in the state law library, and we've shifted some stuff around there. We're making moves. It's a great opportunity, that last 30 minutes, to really kind of take things back in, look a little closer, look a little deeper. And I got to tell you guys, the Frankfurt Roundabout, maybe it's like the around 10 of that time period, because they were talking about so many hilarious, they're writing little bits on, Benson Creek froze over, so there were kids out skating Sunday morning. Do you see that? Do you see those kids skating Sunday morning? So it's and so we're pulling from those sources. So I'm not going to be reading from a Senate journal necessarily.
Yeah.
But it's going to be these are the people that were just living life while history is happening. And it's a nice reminder too that, we're living in history right now. So
yeah, I like that, and I like if you are one of the wanderers, which I'm a wanderer, and you like to sneak off.
Mike Wishnevski.
Yeah, the last time we were sneaking around in the old Capitol, I like the little Easter eggs that are in the desks.
I'm so glad you brought that up, Scott. So a lot of people do not know, and if you go on the tour, and of course, to be clear, we got cameras everywhere. There's the person at the front desk is da da da, hi, nice to meet you. We've got, we can see what you're messing with. Yeah. Well, because we do have the house, the Speaker of the House's desk is it's pretty original to the building, as close to original as you could get of what's survived over time, but. So we're watching people. But yeah, those desks, there are so many reproduction items. I mean, I can't tell you how many field trip kiddos have touched those things. Not as a turnoff. I don't want to. We make sure, they sit over time, and we make sure they're cleaned and tended to. But there's a ton of items in the House of Representatives, not in the Senate, but in the House, where you can open up and see. And a lot of it is winter clothing, or we've got everything from, we used to have a gentleman's pomade. I think we pulled that because kids were like, Dan, what's in, and we're like, please don't touch that.
That's not Play-Doh.
No, don't touch it. Yeah, well, and it's it's not
super old. Yeah.
Well, and it's been out of bacon grease, which we ended up removing because we do have kiddos who, it's against their religious practices to be touching stuff like that. Sure. So, but combs, and you got toothbrushes. It's these guys were concerned about their hygiene at the time. But a lot of people don't realize those beautiful chandeliers were run on gas, and we have actual legislators being this. It's just the language is so amazing. It's just it is the most offensive thing to the olfactory senses ever, because you've got people mixing gases like methane and other things to light this stuff, and it's cutting edge, and nobody really they understand that some of the dangers, but also you've got people getting headaches and migraines in that space. But all of those little items, they're safe to touch. A lot of people feel it's hilarious that you went in there. And if you weren't on a guided tour, you might have been I wonder if they know that this is in here. These little treasures, but skeleton keys, all different kinds of bills that we've printed out that look like the real, because they're scans from our archives.
Yeah. That's cool.
So yeah,
that's a nice touch.
It makes you feel like it's part of an escape room, and maybe you all can do that one.
I listen.
State Capitals.
Scott, we have tried. My manager Megan Sauter we have been talking about creating some kind of escape room.
There you go.
We would just have to get, it would take a lot of, we have to cut through some red tape and stuff, just because it is, I tell the kids that's our largest artifact, but oh man, if we could.
Yeah, you're in the middle of it, and then Henry Clay comes in, and he's like, maybe you should look over here.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, Henry Clay. Yeah, well, and we've talked about putting voice activated things in there so you can actually hear, because you stand in the rotunda and it's, you could drop a pencil and it's the loudest thing ever, but there you could definitely hear bros getting into it upstairs. Even just thinking about the last couple of years of politics, and it's I can't believe they said that. It's you should, there were people taking their canes and hitting people when they weren't happy, or coming in loaded, packed,
I'm sure,
packing during those time periods. So definitely a different time, but some things stay the same, and pride is a big thing. Honor is a big thing.
Oh, sure.
We still get that little taste of Southern honor, even in the upland South. So, yeah, although I don't believe there were any duels. Oh, I hope I don't get, I can think of a couple of different colleagues that I work with that might be like, Rebecca, you don't know what you're talking about with the duels, but I don't think that would have been happening on the front lawn. I'm sure there were a lot in Kentucky, but I don't think in the front lawn. But yeah, so it's cool to see how it's changed, and more voices are being heard for sure. Yeah. But also, like, there is something neat about going into a building like that. And you go into our museum, and that's fantastic too. But there's something about walking into the rotunda and looking up and seeing the plaster work, although it needs a little bit of work too, because it's peeling a little bit, it's getting older. But to think about all of the people, and you can actually see the dips in the steps from the leather-soled shoes of people walking. And so it's so special. It's an architectural marvel. I mean, those stairs are incredible alone. And I, our new Capitol is beautiful too. No hate on the new Capitol, but there's so much Kentucky built into that building, and I really just want to share it with you guys. So come in, or go online and sign up for the tour. You can go to history.ky.gov to sign up. And once again, it's dressed for the holidays at the Old State Capitol. Last time I checked, I think our website, there might have been like snow coming down, like I'm not kidding, like digital snow coming down, and I was like, well, this is festive for Dress for the Holidays, but I think it was a mistake, because it like wouldn't go away. But so don't be alarmed if it's snowing, but still sign up, pretty please.
But sign up.
Yeah. And like I said, and our tours are very much like conversational like this, right? So whether we get 3 people or 15, it's always a conversation. No one at KHS is trying to just like wanting to hear themselves, wax poetic about this building. We want to hear what you guys want to know, because we might have the answer. And if we don't, we definitely know people smarter and have access to the resources to give you the answer. But yeah, this is one of my favorite times of the year, but it's also like such a rich history in that building. And I love the Old State Capitol. And there are a lot of people who have come to KHS, come back, and they're like, this is one of my favorite buildings in Kentucky. So that's high praise. That's high praise. So, yeah.
And you guys are such excellent stewards of the Old State Capitol.
Thank you.
And
appreciate that.
Encourage folks to go in and get a nice little treat for the holidays and see this and kind of get a glimpse into winter's past.
Yes.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. And bring your kids. It's a family friendly. I'm not talking any wild nonsense, because I know like sometimes our Halloween tours were like, we're talking about a lot of dark or like macabre stuff. We don't want to give your kiddo nightmares, but it's a very family friendly space. I work with kiddos. Camp's coming up. I'm going to do a shameless plug for camp. January 2nd and 3rd, ladies and gentlemen. We will be giving you guys childcare. But also we're going to be covering Winter Wonders Across Cultures this year. So we're going to be talking about Kwanzaa. We're going to have some guests come in and talk about that, which is very exciting. Cool. Actually, some previous campers and their parents coming in and talking about that, Los Pasados, and other traditions that maybe kind of, we really fixate on Christmas a lot. But I'm really pumped to be able to be talking about those different cultures, and even like, Celtic traditions and Norwegian, like getting into the what's that Yule log come from? You know what I mean? Stuff like that. Like what's that about? What's the lore behind that? So it's going to be a fun time. Like I said, 2 days, January 2nd and 3rd. Please sign up. We'd love to have your kiddos. We love sharing our KHS family with yours.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks, Rebecca, for being here and talking all kinds of things.
I know. I love it with you guys. It's so much fun every time.
Yeah, we're excited to have you back.
Yeah. And if you want to stick around and hear about aliens, you feel free.
Oh my! You know what? I might have to.
All right.